You're planning to start your career in IT or cybersecurity, or maybe you are trying to switch careers into tech to get hopefully a higher paying job with opportunities to work from home and opportunities for career progression, or maybe you've just finished your degree in IT or in computer science or cybersecurity and someone told you, hey, do a CCNA. I'm here to tell you why CCNA is a waste of time. I'm also going to respond to some of the comments that I got on my short videos about CCNA. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Cisco was one of the most innovative companies. Cisco was the leading tech company. Everyone wanted to work in Cisco, myself included. I loved Cisco so much that I did my CCNA in 2006. The company I worked at, they were a Cisco Gold partner, meaning they needed a certain number of individuals to be Cisco certified in order to maintain their partnership with Cisco, to be able to sell more Cisco equipment, as this was the thing to do back in the early 2000s and even the late 2000s. In my job, I was supporting Unix servers and Cisco routers and switches. It was a very interesting time, and CCNA definitely helped me to not get my job, but perhaps more maintain my job at that company and stay competitive. I was getting tickets, support tickets to support Cisco equipment, so it was really needed. Now, unfortunately, Cisco today is not the same Cisco that it was 10 or 15 years ago. I'll explain why. The reason is technology evolved, and this is really good news. So in the past, in order to maintain one local area network, we needed so many network engineers and technicians. We needed people to constantly support those routers and switches. We needed constant configuration changes. Thankfully, these things have changed. So many organizations now have their entire data in the cloud, so they need little to no network engineering. Now, why do I believe CCNA is a waste of time? The first reason is simply there are less network engineering roles out there than there was 10 or 15 years ago. As I said, we used to need a lot of people to support network and networking equipment. Nowadays, that's not the case anymore. Now, I'm not saying there are no network engineering roles. I'm not saying we absolutely don't need network engineering. That's simply not true. All I'm saying is there are just less number of those jobs around. Let me repeat this to make it clear. There are less number of network engineering jobs around, which brings me to the second point. There are less network engineering jobs around. However, guess which two fields are growing like crazy? You guessed it, cloud engineering and cybersecurity. If you do a simple job search in your own country of open jobs, first search for network engineer and then search for cybersecurity and then search for cloud. Just by sheer force of number of open jobs out there, there is just so many more open roles for cybersecurity and cloud engineering than there is for network engineering. Again, looking at this, that doesn't mean there is zero network engineering roles. We need network engineers, but it's just not a growing career field. So as someone who wants to move into tech and as someone who wants to chase growth and career opportunities, I would like your time to be spent on the career fields that have the maximum potential for growth. So if there are more cybersecurity and cloud jobs out there, your time should be spent doing that. Now, I talked about these ideas in two short videos that I posted previously. However, I've received so many comments on those videos. Some were kind, some were not so kind, as I alluded to that. So now I will respond to the comments that I received. One of the most comments, and probably the strangest comment of all, was this: so you recommend that people learn cloud. What do you think the cloud run in the back end? It's running on routers and switches, so people need to do CCNA before they learn cloud. First of all, mind absolutely blown. So you're saying people must do CCNA before they do cloud certification because in the back end cloud runs on network equipment? I mean, let's follow that logic. So why should we do CCNA on networking? Why don't we just learn all the types of cables, all the types of cabling, and learn the best way to lay out cables? Because, you know, at the back end of the routers and switches, they are connected using cables. So why not spending our time knowing all the types of fiber optics? How do they run? What's the best type of cable to run? How to lay them out nicely? But hold on, why should we stop there? Why don't we all go and do a 5-year degree in electrical engineering? Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's all voltages and it's all circuitry, so we need to know that before we even think of doing cloud certifications. Someone might argue, why stop there? Let's do pure math. I mean, a PhD in mathematics sounds like a good idea because electrical engineering is based on pure math, so all the circuitry is based on mathematical equations. You see where I'm going with that logic? So that logic is absolutely false. You can go straight away and do Microsoft Azure Fundamentals or AWS Cloud Practitioner. You absolutely don't need to know about Cisco routers and switches before you do that. The second most common comment was CCNA is foundation. You need to do CCNA as a foundation of networking before you do anything. Now, I'm rephrasing it in a respectful way. Unfortunately, some of the comments comments were disrespectful. This was again a weird and a strange one. So first of all, network fundamentals are not exclusive to CCNA. Any half respectful university degree or diploma will teach you the fundamentals of networking, irrespective of which vendor. Furthermore, there are so many free YouTube videos and free trainings and even articles and books online that will teach you the fundamentals of networking. They are no longer a secret. It's not a difficult thing. It's literally basics of networking. So CCNA, as you put it, is not the foundation of networking. It's just a vendor certifications by a vendor called Cisco. The foundations of networking are taught everywhere. You don't really need to do CCNA before you do anything. If you've been working in cybersecurity for a while, or if you've been working in IT for a while, or if you've been doing any sort of IT support, you will know that because you will see that people around you in the field, they don't all have CCNAs, but they know the networking fundamentals. So which leads me to believe that the individuals who leave this comment are people who are very new to the field, or they have a very narrow experience of their own. So maybe they worked for a year or two and they feel like they have an obligation to lecture people about what to do and what not to do. You know, remember when you were in school and there is always that one kid in school who have a need to try and teach everyone else around them, and then you realize that they don't know anything? I don't intend to sound mean, but that's the truth of it. If you've been in the field or in the trenches for long enough, you will know that network fundamentals are not exclusive to the CCNA. You will also know that the vast majority of IT professionals do not have CCNA, they don't care about CCNA, and they know the foundations of networking. If you have been working with firewalls, for example, you will know how to trace packets, you will know how to run TCP/IP dump, you will just know so much that looking at something like a CCNA does not make any sense. So there are learning opportunities on the job. Any certification that you do, like it. If you do a certification in digital forensic, the basics of networking will come up. If you do a certification in cloud, those basics will come up again and again and again. So they really are not exclusive to CCNA. Another common comment was, in my country, CCNA is required. In fact, I got a job because I had CCNA. So let me tell you this, if you've just gotten your first job, congratulations, I'm genuinely happy for you. The only reason I started this channel is to be the mentor that I've never had. I've never had a mentor. I wish I had someone with experience who could tell me what to do. That would have saved me so much time, money, and pain. So I'm genuinely happy for you. This is exactly what I want to happen. Now, let's dissect the comment a little bit. So when you say in my country CCNA is required, now I'm not an expert on every geographical market, but I know the IT field really well after 2 decades of experience. So let me tell you this, there is no such thing as in certain country vendor certification is mandatory. Okay, so Cisco is a private American company, so you can't mandate a law that says a certification from this American company is needed. So sometimes you may see the certification listed in some jobs, and you know what, it may be required for a certain role. That doesn't change the fact that there is a limited number of those roles. Okay, the other thing is, I was a hiring manager and we always sort of write a list of desirable certifications. Those are not a must. This is more like a wish list. Okay, so we can put whatever we want in the requirements, but getting hired, there is a lot more that goes into the hiring process than just a certification. So if you believe that you got your job just because you have a certifications, I'm here to tell you, maybe not. We look at your CV, we look at the way you interview, we look at even your potential. Like some candidates, we know that they don't know anything, especially entry-level candidates. In fact, most people with 1 or 2 years of experience, the harsh truth is we don't expect them to know much of anything. But we hire for potential. We know if someone is excited, if they are willing to learn, we give them a chance. Now, if they have a CCNA, sure, great. That doesn't really mean much, to be honest with you. So just get it out of your head that CCNA was the only reason you got the job, right? So if someone comes to me with a CCNA or a cloud certificate, we're talking about entry-level certifications. These are the things that you do early on in your career that you will probably forget about. So take that advice from me. I want your time to be spent on the areas that are high in demand with higher growth. If you're not sure where to start, I strongly recommend that you watch this video where I talk about the best way to break into cybersecurity. It's an excellent place to start. And if you feel like I still didn't answer your concerns about CCNA and you feel the need to express your opinion or let me know what you think, I'm more than happy to read your comment, to reply to your comment, as long as you're respectful. I read almost all the comments and I respond to them. I hope this video helped.